annoying quip.
Yeah, so if you're going to ask, like, who was the guy they shot on the boat, they're not
No,
going to get an
no
answer.
outrigger question will be answered.
What happened to the polar bears? I don't know.
We don't know either.
I don't know. I didn't write the damn thing. Ask this guy.
But that said, we would love to chat with you guys. So we do have some.
Yes, we have some people with microphones. So if you want to raise your hands, go for it, and they'll come find you.
Right. This young woman right over here.
Up there we go. Yeah. First one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well,
Right.
actually, first here and then you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're next. You'll be next. Stay standing.
No, you can sit down. We'll get you. We promise we'll come back to you.
All right.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask about the very end of the show.
Wow. No warm-up. No softball.
So I love the show and I love your music, but I was very curious. The last about 10 minutes, Jack and his father, and the very end, I cannot watch that without sobbing. It's just one of the most moving things I've ever seen. And I was just curious how you came about that particular dialogue and just the very last visual piece of the show. Just curious how that came about.
Well, first of all, I want to say that I am filled with deep sorrow that my partner, Damon Lindelof, could not be here tonight. Damon is finishing his awesome show, The Leftovers, in Australia. Yes. And there were some floods. Damon was sending me links to biblical scenes in Australia of roads washing away, kangaroos floating downstream. Anyway, so this delayed production, he was going to literally jump on a plane, fly all night, come directly here, and he got delayed. So unfortunately, he cannot be here tonight. But you know, what I will say about the ending of the show is that what we did not want to do was you know, there was sort of no version of just sort of trying to answer all the unanswered questions that we felt was, you know, going to be satisfying. It was going to be didactic, and so we really chose to kind of find our way to an emotional ending to the story, to really, you know, to tell a story about, you know, how these characters' journeys came to an end, and in a way we hope that the end of the show, you know, said something about the entirety of the journey that led to that place. We may have a little bit more to say about this later, and you may get a chance to cry again tonight. So
I was wondering how you were going to get around that. I was like, oh, this will be...
Yes, thank you. And then we have this gentleman here who definitely wants, oh, well, there are two people. That guy wants to ask a question. Look at him.
Thank you so much. All right, go ahead. There's a mic right there. Oh!
Test. Ooh, okay. There's so much I want to say, but Michael, your music has moved me not just with this composition, but all of your other films, and you're almost an EGOT. You're almost there. I don't know how you're gonna get the Tony, but
I can steal one.
I think you're almost there. But my question is for you, Michael. That my name is also Michael. So
That's
your
coincidence. Thank you very much.
no. Please let me. What was it like to watch like raw, unedited footage of the show and figure out how to assign like?
It was raw, but it was edited.
Yeah, I never saw the unedited. Thank God, it's hours long.
Was it like in Korean? Like all?
Yeah. I mean, look, the show, as you saw it, is how I saw it, but with no music. So
Right.
They would give me an episode.
Yeah.
They would say, here it is. Just do this because we have to go to the next episode. We'll see
Right.
you later. And
What you make it sound so trivial, like you just put it on.
no, it's not. I'm telling you how it happened. All right.
Really?
Yeah. So we'll answer this real quick, and then we'll let someone else ask a question as well. But I will tell you that they would give me an episode, and I would watch it, and I would, as I felt something, I would write something, and and that was pretty much how it worked. And the show, as you know, was an incredibly emotional show. So there really wasn't a whole lot of times when I was sitting there watching the show and didn't feel something, whether it was scared, sad, you know, all of these things that go through each of the characters' minds. In a way, like, what I do is, in some ways, like an actor, you have to take on the personality of an emotion, of a thing. And for me, it was about just telling you, the audience, how I felt when I watched it. And that's what the music is, a representation of.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You actually get past the mic right there. No, right to your left. There you go. Thank you, sir.
Hi, Michael. My question's for you. It's very specific, so I'll be quick. I love all the motifs that you did for each individual character or couple, or all the different ones that you've done. I would like to know which one is your favorite, or which one was your favorite to compose.
You mean all the movies, and are there stuff
No.
Lost?
In Lost, like everybody, all the characters have a specific motif.
I don't, you know, it's weird, one of those things, I don't really listen back to anything that I've written unless we're doing something like this. But I can tell you this, that there are a couple pieces that when they come up, they do affect me in a certain way, in which in a much deeper way. And for some reason, Oceanic 6 is one of them, and LAX is one of them. Those two pieces. So those are ones that really affect me, and I can't exactly tell you why, I don't know, but I remember writing each of those pieces very clearly. I remember actually sitting at my desk, writing them, again, I don't know why, maybe it was something that was going on at the time, I don't know, but they did, those two pieces, for some reason, they affect me in a certain way.
Thanks.
Thank you. Gracie, how about that
Right there,
gentleman right in front of you there?
Yeah.
Hi, this question's for Michael. How much of the character's profile did you have to know in order to compose their theme song?
You know what, I really didn't know about them at all because I never read any of the scripts. I generally try not to read scripts because what happens is if I read a script, I envision my version of the film or the TV show. And then inevitably when I get the episode, I look at it, I'm like, well, that's nothing like what I thought it was gonna, you know? So I tend to want to just wait till I get it. I was learning about the show at the same time you were, almost virtually at the same time. And it was usually on the air almost like, what, 7 days after we score it or something.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, you know? It would be on the air the next week. So I almost watched it in real time in the same way that you did. I didn't know what was going to happen from moment to moment. I never knew what was going to happen in the next episode, and I tried as best as I could only to work in order when I got the episode. I would start from the beginning and just write to the end. And that way, it felt like I could help tell the story better. I would react more truthfully to what I was seeing as opposed to sort of manufacturing something. I like that idea of reacting musically. So that's I didn't know anything about any of them. I learned with you.
We have a bunch of questions down here.
Yeah, just when you see a hand, just run the mic there.
Yeah. How about this gentleman right here?
Hello. Michael, you did a version, I think it was like LAX, Moving On, Oceanic 6, a little bit of Live Together, Die Alone, a little bit of Hurley in there. I think 2010, it's on YouTube. It's either in Italy or Spain. There's a lot of birds.
Right. Yeah, it was in Spain. Yeah, there was a lot of birds, and it was an outdoor auditorium, and there was like tons of birds, and they were just through the whole thing. Yeah.
There's like one guy
It's on
that captured that, and it's like been seen like 4 million times or
It
something.
has?
Yes.
Wow. I watched it that much.
Yeah, 3 million was just me, but the other million was my girlfriend. I'm just kidding. Man, it's so beautiful, and the choir, bringing that choir in, I think there was additional horns. Is there any way possible, you know, to get that in digital form or get it on CD, or do you have any kind of plans?
Well,
Can you
we never recorded that, and you know, it's interesting. We have done a couple things like that with a bigger orchestra, and when we were planning this show, we felt like, you know what, I kind of wanted it just to be pure. I wanted it to be the way that you heard it in the show. I wanted it to be exactly as we had done it. Sometimes we have been successful expanding them, and other times I felt like they got too big and it sort of lost the true essence of it. The ones that you mentioned are some of my favorite ones. The LAX, I think, works really nicely. the choir is beautiful in that. But for the most part, we never recorded any of those. Those were just done for live performances, for the, to experience there. And someone just happened to film them. And now they're on YouTube. They're there to enjoy that way. But maybe one day we'll do it. But right now, there's no plans.
How about this guy right over here?
Just get them and we'll go in order. Just hand the mic over.
Hi, question for Michael. Oh,
Yeah.
there's an echo. I've come over all the way from the UK for this, thrilled to be here. Saw your Star Trek concert at the Albert Hall a couple of years ago.
Oh, you did?
Absolutely unbelievable. Related to my question, so a lot of your lost motifs are very character-based for the different characters, and a lot of the Star Trek motifs are quite more mood-based, like really powerful themes. Which of these can we expect in your Rogue One work? Right?
I literally just started writing that thing. I have no idea. I don't know. It's a lot of fun, I'll tell you that. And I'm having a blast so far. Geez, I don't know. Yes. This is my chance to get away from that tonight, so I'm trying to enjoy this.
Chris, you got one over here?
Hi, I'm Mary Alice.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm really nervous. I'm from Florida. I never thought I'd get a chance to tell you guys how much this meant to me, so I'm a little emo right now. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, it means like a hell of a lot to me. Carlton, I love the show start to finish. I know not everyone does, but they're wrong. But looking back on the show, is there anything you would have changed or done differently? Like anything at all? Or are you just like, nope, good?
Well, Nikki and Paulo.
Whatever. No.
It's a great ending, though.
It's a
Come on.
great
Well,
episode.
it was, yes, it was. It was kind of,
The ending of that storyline was pretty great.
yeah. We had grand plans, and then we did it all in one episode, and but no, Dame and I were sitting around, and we were talking like, God, maybe people would say there are all these people, that you see in the show, and they never actually say anything. They're walking around on the beach, they're raking things, they're building structures, they never talk. So we felt the sort of pressure to try to bring sort of these characters out of the chorus, and then once we did it, it sort of felt wrong to us, and
I think it's a meta piece of genius, to be quite honest.
But the thing about the show, and about life is you have to take risks, you have to try things, and we sort of realized right away that it failed, and we didn't like it basically, and so we created this whole arc, and then we did the whole thing in one episode where they ended up meeting sad fate. But anyway, but then the audience basically came along, after us, and then they saw it, and they were like, no, we don't like these characters. They're taking time away from Hurley and Sawyer and Kate and Jack. And then they were like, yeah, you heard us, you killed them. So anyway, that I think was, there's things like that, but in totality, no. I think, you have to. And I think, Dan and I accept that the show is what it is, warts and all, and we kind of, very, everything is a part of it, and no. So ultimately, would there be anything that I would change? The answer is no.
Thank you. I love you so much.
I just have a question. How many people came from out of the country? Wow. Holy cow. Thank you, guys. That's pretty amazing. Incredible. All on the same airplane? Did you come together? There was a question over here.
Connie, how are you?
Keep your hands up.
I'm gonna fall. First off, I want to personally thank you for creating the best bonding experience I can ever share with my best friend, which is my father. We watch it every week. I love our films. Close the Blinds, watched it, talked for 3 hours afterwards. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. My question is, at what point did you realize that this was the field you wanted to go into, whether it was showrunner or composer?
I'm sorry, say just a little louder on that.
At what point did you realize this was the field you wanted to go into, whether it was being composer, showrunner?
You know, I've been making movies since I was 9 years old. So I think at 9 years old, I saw, you know, I grew up watching King Kong, you know, Planet of the Apes, The Muppet Show, which I loved. And then, of course, Star Wars came, and I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. I don't even know what that is, but I want to do that, you know? And I just started making movies, and I kind of never stopped. And I eventually kind of segued into music, and it just kept going. It wasn't like a real sort of, everything just kept happening one after the other. You make a series of decisions in your life that lead you to this place, and
Where you're now doing Star Wars.
yeah, we're now doing Star Wars. That's so crazy to hear that. Those words are so weird.
You know, I completely agree with the process. You know, I loved writing from when I was a little kid, and I would always be thinking of stories and writing them down, and that was always, you know, I lived a lot of my imagination, and you know, it took me a while to have the courage to pursue this. I happened to be lucky enough when I was in college that the filmmakers of the movie Airplane came to screen a rough cut of the movie, and first time I kind of really put together, there are people who wrote this, and that you could do that as a job, and that that looked kind of fun to write that, and so that sort of set me off on a quest, and I made a short film, and I came out here and I got a job working as the assistant to the head of one of the studios, like buying organic dog food for his Japanese Akita, getting the windows tinted on his car, Xeroxing scripts, picking up his dry cleaning and stuff, and you know, and worked my way up and wrote, and then finally sold something, and you know, and then that led along a path to ultimately show running. So.
By the way, I need my dry cleaning picked up.
I'm good at that. I will.
But the
we'll
truth
work that
is, it all starts with something you're interested in, you know, and you just keep going in that direction. And that's what's really fun and great about it.
Great. We have a woman with a question over here.
Hi. I just wanted to ask you. I wanted to thank you first because the show really changed my life, and basically I met a lot of great people through the show, and I just am so grateful for that. And my question is about the Dharma years that we didn't see, those 3 years that we never saw. Could you please tell us something about what happened during that time? And like a snapshot of a day during that 3 years would be fine. And just like, you know, just not to put pressure on you or anything, but I came from Hong Kong to come here to ask this question, so please.
Well, they smoked a lot of weed. And ABC didn't really want us to put that on the air. So that's the missing 3 years. It didn't seem appropriate.
Michael, I saw the movies you made when you were 9. So
Yeah.
set them aside for a minute. Let me ask you, say, from The Incredibles to today, have you changed the way you approach composing and the technical devices you use to do so?
Well, some things have changed since The Incredibles was my first film. So between then and now, thank you, Incredibles 2 is on its way. But when I started, I actually still was writing. I wrote a couple of cues, and that's still by hand. There was a couple themes and things that I would write out by hand, but that was literally the last time that I put anything to pencil, pencil to paper, because the software was starting to get better, and we were also recording to analog tape then as well. Of course, now everything is digital. So, technically, a lot has changed. Process-wise, nothing has changed. It's really still about just watching it and trying to understand and feel the stories and empathize with the character. It's really all about empathy. Writing is about empathy, I think, about understanding or being able to understand someone else's position. So that hasn't changed at all. Technically, yeah, there's a bunch of things that have changed. And the technical stuff has made it both better and worse at the same time. Because when you can digitally edit something, you can change it over and over and over. And it's hard to kind of, and in some ways you can maybe find the best version of it, but in other ways it just causes a lot of other issues or problems. It's just, technology is both a blessing and a curse, as I'm sure everyone here knows, so.
Does somebody else have the mic over on this side here?
Hey, how you doing? Hey, first, thank you guys for doing this. It's a really amazing thing that you guys are doing. I've been wanting to know the answer to this question for like 6 or 7 years, because I remember reading an article where it was either you or Damon doing an interview, and they asked about Adewale's departure from the show in season 3. And you said you had planned on developing that character all the way into season 6, and you had a really important storyline for that. And I was wondering if you could kind of elaborate on maybe what that was, and if you transferred that to someone else.
I mean, the thing when what happens when you make a television show is you're not just doing it yourself. You're doing it in collaboration with a lot of other people, and Damon and I did have plans for that character, but it's kind of hard to speak about that completely. Some of that stuff actually kind of ended up. We planned to have that character be more of a spiritual force in the show, but Adewale did not really like being in Hawaii. He was from London. He felt, I think, dislocated and wanted to be back home, and we felt it was the best thing for him and for the show to accommodate that. And what ended up happening was right around that same time, Michael Emerson had emerged as a force in the show, and then and so the departure of Adewale made room for more story for the Ben character. And television series are these kind of organic creations, and you listen to the show, and you listen to the show in concert with the collaborators that you work with. And so, we had plans and intentions, but those plans and intentions were always subject to what would happen episode to episode, and what characters would do, and we would write to those characters and to relationships we saw unfolding. And it was a loss that we were not able to kind of fulfill what we planned to do with Adewale, but the show took us in a different direction, and we ended up having this incredible opportunity to really see Michael Emerson's character flourish on the show. And that's what's great about television. It's not, it is this ongoing, creative dialogue and process of exploration.
Also, my friends want to know what color G-string Josh Holloway bought.
Me?
Yeah.
I'll show you later. All right, I think we have maybe 2 more questions that we can have time for. Up here? Yeah.
Hi. For starters, I wanted to thank you, Michael. 3 years ago, my husband and I got married, and I asked you on Twitter beforehand if we could use the Oceanic 6
Oh, that's right. I said no, right?
Yeah. And the LAX theme, and those were my 2 favorite. And we got to come, so I was really excited. So thank you for that. It meant a lot to us.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But my question is for both of you. How did it feel to write the last piece of music or the last piece of writing and dialogue for the show?
I remember exactly, that writing that scene, and it was really hard because it's a very emotional scene. I remember a couple times I had to step away from it. And I actually took a picture of myself as soon as I finished the last note. I remember, and I still have that photo. And when I look at that photo, it's weird because I look very sad, and it's very strange. And you realized how much the show really meant to you. It wasn't just a job. It was a community that was built of friendships. We all became friends on that show, and we remain friends. And it was a realization that, we're not going to see each other all the time now. We're not going to be involved in these things, and we're all going to go in our different directions. And at the time, that felt sort of scary to me. But looking back now, I am still friends with all those people. I still see them, and it was really one of the greatest gifts was that job, being able to work on that show, because it gave me a lot of my best friends, and I'll forever be thankful for it. Yeah.
You know, when Damon and you know, I wasn't really quite sure what the experience of Lost Ending was going to feel like, and when Damon and I finished writing, we cried and it was cathartic, and then we went and we finished editing the show, and I remember we like drank a bunch of tequila and we cried and it was cathartic. And then we went to the scoring session and we heard Michael's music and we cried and it was cathartic. And then we had like a screening of the finale for all of the people who worked on the show, and we all cried. But then it was like enough, okay? Like but it was just so. Oh my God! It was just so emotional. It was like it was hard because. You know, you have an expectation, you know it's gonna happen, and like it just creeps up on you. It can't, you know. I was just trying to get through last night when we were doing this without like crying all the time. You know, I'm like, you know, it's like I listen to this music and it's, you know, I wrote a little thing in the program about the experience of watching the RAF launch, and but it just was something that would happen all the time, and you know, really, I can't say it any better than Michael did. It was the exact same experience. It was the sense of something ending, but you know, out of that something had happened. You know, honestly, when you make a television show, you create a set of characters that live on screen, but you also create an entire family behind the scenes of the people who spend all that same amount of time working on the show together, and they all bond and become as close in a way as the characters in the show. And then there's a third family created, which is our relationship with you guys, and you know, coming here and the, you know, I mean, really, I have to say, you know, for Michael, and I have to give a huge shout out to his sister Maria Giacchino, who really was the organizing dynamism behind this entire event, but it was really just out of the love of having this time to commune with all of you guys who are, you know, people who care, you know, so much about the show. And, you know, so there is sort of a sadness when one chapter ends, but here we are sitting here, and, you know, it is actually on this night, it is, what is it, 10 years, no, 12 years to the day that Lost premiered today. And here we are all sitting here sharing this experience, so
let's, want to hear some music? All right, let's do it. All right, thank you all for coming so much. Thank you very much. I don't think you want to see that.
All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you.
All right, thanks again, everyone. Thank you.